Hey guys, welcome back to my Geekdom. I'm Brianna, and we are in the television subdivision recapping 911's Season 9, Episode 3, The Sky is Falling. So we're going to open right back up on the Inara 2, where the fire is coming through the vents and the Macronauts have a new emergency to deal with. As Hen says that they need to vent the capsule because the fire is eating up all of the oxygen, Major Lewis can't get the door open because the pressure is not equalized. Athena hops right in, opens up the capsule at the top, and whoosh, out goes all of the oxygen. However, the top of the capsule is now gone too, and they don't have any air. So they had to get into their spacesuits. So they are temporarily safe as they are waiting for the team on Earth to figure out what to do to get them down, since they have lost contact again with Karen, Trip Hauser, and the rest of Earth. Back down there, we have, it opens up classic 911 style with the case of the week, so to speak, as a woman is venting about her boss and her job and how horrible he is. And she and her boyfriend are getting into this fight because she's telling him, like, he offers in an exhausted voice a possible solution, and she goes back with, why didn't I think about this? So they get into this fight when a piece of the satellite and space debris crashes down onto a car, and her name is Lori. She says, I thought that the news was just being hyperbolic, just like they were with Carmageddon and Be NATO. And I will tell you what, the way my brain stopped and went, Carmageddon, did we have a Carmageddon in 911, or was that one actual real life? And I went back through episodes. We've had multiple huge freeway incidents, including the one that almost took Albert from us. So, I was like, which of these is it? I could not put my mind to it, and then went, oh no, right, Carmageddon was a real thing in LA. That guy was a real issue. So it's moments like that where you have to think, I'm sorry to 911 every time we go, what is this new crazy thing they're doing? Some of it is real. And then I feel real bad about that. Sorry guys. Yeah, no, Carmageddon was real. Be NATO made up for a TV show. So as they're doing that, they Lori and her boyfriend Cal get into this fight, and he's telling her that's it. It's over, because as the sky is falling on them, and she's still talking about going to couples counseling, he's saying, you know what, we're having the same fights over and over again. I cannot do it anymore. This is over. She goes off down into the subway station, and another piece of debris crashes down onto the subway. That is going to be our on-Earth emergency. As they go back into space, quick section, tell you what, man, they hopped around so much in this episode that you get just two flashes, a second here, a second there, and then back and forth and back and forth. I wasn't crazy about it, but I also get what they were doing because they're trying to cover all of the characters in multiple places, one of which is outer space. So we go back up into space, where we learn that the Macronauts have an hour and 6 minutes left of air, but it's going to take another hour before the space station comes around to a spot where Karen and the team in the call center can make contact with them. So they are back down to really only having 6 minutes of air and to be able to figure out a plan. Now in the call center, Karen, her coworker, and Maddie are watching the news where Trip Hauser is giving a conference, basically giving condolences. What a tragic accident. Now these people are probably not coming home. We feel so bad. One, it is all this asshole's fault. Which Karen, says almost word for word. But we know that in true 911 style, Karen and Maddie are going to continue to work on this plan, or on a plan, which Maddie comes up with one, and we will bounce back to that after a few more jump arounds. The 118 is out on their, I want to say patrol, that is not the right word, but they are out looking to help people, and they get called to that subway accident with Linda in their ears on the call center. She's going to be their go-to on this one. So they are able to get down into the subway station, onto the train, where Lori is pinned beneath a 200-pound piece of concrete. Chimney develops a plan with the I know this word. I know words, guys. I'm not often able to say them, but boy do I know them. Chimney develops a plan. Bravi gets the third rail shut off so they are able to work safely, get everybody off of the train, get to Lori, and in the meantime, we hop over to our first Nashville crossover with Cammie in her call station and Maddie letting her know, hey, we need to get somebody out on the roof to help reach the space station, or to reach the Inara 2 in space. Back down underground, water is draining into the subway car. The team lets Linda know. She says they're going to contact Waterworks to get that water shut off. Now, Lori's artery has in her leg, because this 200-pound piece of concrete is crushing her leg. This is a very common thing we've seen in many television shows, and at least twice before in other seasons on 911. Her femur has broken, according to Eddie, and that broken bone has nicked the artery, causing internal bleeding. Cammie, meanwhile, is able to reach the Inara, and Maddie has multiple call centers all across the globe set up and ready to keep them in contact so they will not lose the Inara and the Macronauts again until they are literally too high to be able to reach with the old school satellite phones. Karen comes up with the idea to send them to the International Space Station, so the ISS. For this to work, it's about an hour-ish trip from their current position, but they also need to get higher. Unfortunately, that is still in the debris field. Back down on Earth, Buck has taken Cal, who was down in the train with them. He sort of led them to Lori. Well, he told them where Lori was. They went, and then as everybody else got off of the subway car, he got onto it. But Buck has taken him up to wait with Harry, who is at the engine. And Harry's standing outside of the engine once again on his phone. He's trying to get information about Athena and what's going on with the Inara, which we can all... we get it. But Harry, my guy, you just watched a man get struck in the head, impaled in the head with a piece of space debris. And you are out there without the helmet on, even though we know, because I saw it, we all saw it, Buck made you put his helmet on. And Buck is, he is very big brother coded in these moments with Harry throughout this episode. So he scolds Harry about the falling debris, and that Harry's upset because now he has to play babysitter to Cal. And Buck's response to him is, someone he loves is in danger, and I thought maybe you can relate. Karen, meanwhile, is back on the phone, and she is filling in Denny, Mara, and May on the plan for the Inara 2 and what they're going to do to get Athena and Hen, as well as the rest of the Macronauts, back home. As they are ending the call, a woman named Robin comes into the fire station, bleeding profusely from the head and looking for help. What May does in this moment is she calls Maddie for advice, because there's nobody left in the fire station and all of the ERs are filled up, which is why Robin came there, because it was the closest place to her. And what had happened with Robin was that she tripped over her dog and hit her head on her coffee table. I have been in this situation that luckily only led to a concussion and not any bleeding, so I can relate to this. And yeah, those moments when you live alone or it's just you and your pet and you're like, cool, obituary reads, woman dies from tripping over feet. Oh boy, can I relate to you, Robin. Anyways, in this moment, so on the phone, Denny had he pieced together Karen's plan about sending the Macronauts to the ISS. But as this woman is bleeding from the head, he says that he feels like he's going to throw up. And Mara, who is so much younger than him, I think by now she's like 10 years old, she tells him that if you're going to go throw up, don't do it on me. This makes so much sense with Mara's history and background with abuse and the death of her mother and being in a home with the body of your parent, not knowing what to do and having that trauma. So yeah, it 100% makes sense that Mara as a child is able to stand by May's side to help this woman. Now, Denny has had a different life. So yes, he had the trauma in the one Halloween episode of having that car crash into him and being pinned like that. But that is a thing that happened to him. Like he is so much more Karen based. He is his mother's son in that his mind is amazing. He can think and he can solve puzzles, and he would probably become a rocket scientist like Karen versus Hen. He does not have that medical side. He is not made for blood and guts and emergency situations such as what's going on now. He has heroic tendencies. He saved Mara's life, but that is not who he is on a daily basis. No shame here, man. It is just an interesting comparison because it seems like Mara is definitely more Hen's child and has these tendencies that Hen has versus Karen. Of course, they both love their mothers. That is not the question. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying one kid takes after one mom, the other kid's taking after the other mom is what this moment's sort of showing us. And as May is on the phone with Maddie, they're trying to come up with ideas. There are no staples, there's no glue, and May has this idea to braid April's hair. Because when she was little, Athena would braid her hair and it was so tight that she wasn't able to sleep at night. Maddie gives her the okay. That is a great idea. And here's the thing. This is only an idea that a person of color is going to have. I am white. I would never ever have this idea. Braids are not part of my culture. And my poor cute little niece, I will never ever be able to help her with her hair. My sister-in-law has made that very clear. Like, I keep this shaved for a reason is all I'm really saying, okay? This is something that May is going to have a solution for. Because she is a woman of color. This is part of her life, and I think it is a genius solution that is saving a person's life. So back underground, there's water now rushing into this subway car, into this train car. And Linda is in the ear of Chimney and the rest of the 118. They say that the water has been shut off, but it's not stopping, and Linda gives them a time frame. 30 minutes is being generous for assistance to come to them. Now we bounce back over to the call center with Karen on the phone. She has helped set up a manual device for them to be able to pilot the Inara 2. In this moment, it's basically a controller, and Athena tries to hand it over to Parker when he makes the comment of it looking like a PS5 controller. And she gets a great joke of, sorry, I only fly passenger jets, which, B-NATO episode. So there's certain things that I'm going to kind of wait till the end of this recap to really dig into the specific references and the jokes that they're using in this particular episode, because of what they circle back to in the past. Now this one is tiny. This is not something to dive down deep into. Lori made the joke saying she didn't think B-NATO was real, and here we have Athena, who is at the center of the B-NATO, going, nah, I had to fly a passenger jet. That's not what I'm made for. I am not doing a space capsule. So Major Lewis is the one who actually takes control. This is what he was trained for. He knows what to do. Lewis Kern. Major Kern takes it. Athena asks Karen to call the kids, and Karen assures her that she's already looped them in on what's going on. So back on the truck, we have Cal, and he is speaking with Harry. He asks Harry, he goes, so you're not a firefighter? And Harry says no. In this moment, on my first watch, I was like, I kind of wish you had said, my stepdad was. That's why I'm here. That's part of why I'm here, why I'm with these firefighters. He says, no, I'm just kind of on a ride along today. And Cal, in a very aggressive and rude way, which I understand because of the situation that he is currently in, says, are you some sort of a Make-A-Wish kid? Which gets Harry mad. Obviously. And he goes off and he says, the shuttle, the Inara 2, my mom is up there right now. So they now have both been able to relate to each other and understand that someone they love is in danger at this same moment in two very different places. One way up in space and one under the ground. That is not a place that us Californians tend to go. LA has a subway station, and I think it's very funny that the only time we ever really see it in media is when something bad happens there. It's just an interesting thing from being in this area. Like, we'll take the car and risk Carmageddon versus going into the subway station where we could have to deal with a speed situation. Yeah, I was going to say something about Scorpion because that's an episode of Scorpion. But anyways, so let me go back through these notes. Where was I? So they both wish that they were able to help. Cal says that wishes that he was able to stay down there, and Harry reassures him, saying that while he can't, the best thing to do to help is to let the team do their job because they are the best at it. Now back down underneath the ground, Lori, her vitals are dropping. She's going into Eddie suggests that it's organ failure. The concrete is not moving, the water is getting heavier, and there is nothing that they are currently able to do. There is no help coming because of all of the disasters across LA at the moment. And Eddie suggests, with his military background, this is a logical suggestion, that they have to take the leg. And Chimney in that moment says, I can't help but think, what would Bobby do? So then we cut away again. We're back at the station with May, Denny, and Mara. More people are arriving who need assistance because all of the hospitals are overflowing. There is danger everywhere, and these more minor incidents, while still an issue and a problem, they're not getting the help that they need. So at some point, April had posted on social media what her plan was to go to the 118 firehouse. And we switch right back over. Ravi is sent to go get a surgeon because Chimney has agreed that they can do the field operation, but they need a surgeon to do it. And we switch back again. Maddie and Sue come up with a plan to turn the empty firehouses into emergency service areas. So they are going to call in and post for help for retired and off-duty firefighters, nurses, doctors, social workers, anybody who can go lend a hand at these places. Back over to Chimney, and he is breaking down the options above ground with Cal. We can wait, and she will probably die. We can take her leg, and she'll live. Like, these are your options. It's very straightforward. And Cal turns to Harry for reassurance that you said these people were their best. And he tells them that, yes, they are. So now back up at the Inara 2, they have visual contact of the ISS, but NASA cannot reach the ISS. So we saw back in episode 1, it opened with one astronaut outside of the capsule, or one outside of the station and one on the station. When it first gets hit by all of the space debris, it killed the astronaut outside and injured the one inside. However, the new issue is that when Trip Hauser built this capsule, he did not build it to the standards of everybody else. So there is no safe way to dock the capsule with the ISS. Karen, however, is going to talk them through it. It is going to require them to, however, they lose contact, and the team up on the Inara 2 has to put it together, which the Major does. He figures it out that they are going to have to walk across from the Inara 2 capsule to the International Space Station. Now, back underground, Eddie is trying to take over because he is trained as a field medic from the military to do emergency amputations, but Chimney is not letting him. They are able to get Lori out as Harry is up above ground with the terrified Cal, so they are able to successfully amputate her leg, get her out onto the backboard before the train car floods. And when Cal asks them, he asks Chimney, what if she hates me? Chimney responds with, tell her to hate me, I'll shoulder all of the blame. And in that moment, that's when you know he's trying to take any responsibility. If something had gone wrong, he didn't want it to end up on Eddie's shoulders. He wanted that blame. He's taking that responsibility. Cal hugs and thanks. He thanks Chimney and the rest of the 118 and hugs and thanks Harry before heading off with Lori to the hospital. Finally, we are back in space. The astronauts, the body of the very first astronaut who died at the opening of episode 1 gives Parker a jump scare, and he begins hyperventilating. using up their oxygen. Now, this is another moment where I kind of wish they had made a slightly different choice. I like that this kid is hyperventilating. That's not the question whatsoever. Trisha is the one, as a yoga instructor, who works as she helps people with breathing exercises constantly. So she offers to help. She's trying to talk him through it. Athena cuts in and yells at him to basically get the hell over it. I wish they had left that with Trisha. I wish it had gone from the moment of when you're taking deep, calming breaths, breathe in, breathe out. She sees it's not working. Pull it together before you kill all of us. Like, I would have really liked that. It is very much in Athena's character to jump in and take control of that moment, especially when her life, the life of her best friend, the lives of others are in danger. But I think it would have been cool for Trisha to have that, even as a minor character, because in the last episode, Parker was able to use his intelligence and his abilities to open up the console, the center console, and do the mechanical side. He is a computer guy. He did the computer thing. In this episode, we are seeing Kern use his training as an astronaut multiple times to take control, to pilot the capsule, to walk them through what they need to do in certain situations to survive. So this is a moment that should have belonged to Trisha, but I feel was taken away from her as a character, where the others were given time to do the things that they do. Now, they're able to see the ISS. They get the jump scare. Kern offers to go first, to get across so that he can lead the way because the capsule door is open. And Parker is going to follow, except for he runs out of air and he begins to have a panic attack, thus he's killing himself because he's panicking, and Athena pushes him out of the capsule. Kern catches him, and then the three women follow across to the International Space Station, where they get their helmets off. Athena slaps Parker awake, so he has survived by mere moments. Then we go back down to ground. Again, back and forth and back and forth. What's weird is that some of these moments, like, we don't have to go for 2 seconds underground, 2 seconds at the fire station, 2 seconds back underground. Those scenes could have been one continual scene. I think it was a odd choice. It was possibly done in a sense of keep the tension up, keep the drama going. But I don't think it was really necessary. It was an editing choice that I don't support. So the 118 has returned home, where May has the telltale clipboard. She found Buck's clipboard and she is running things like the boss that she is. Chimney asks if he has to report this to the chief, and she says that if he does, let him know it was his wife's idea, which of course it was. And quite frankly, there is no way on Earth or in space that they could have converted firehouses across LA into emergency service centers without the permission of the chief of police or without someone's permission. So no, Chimney does not actually have to report it except for in his daily reports. Like, yeah, of course you're going to write it up, but it's too late. This has already been approved. Now, he says in this moment, you guys have been performing tiny miracle after tiny miracle. And May responds, it's what our dad taught us. This is when Harry chips in and goes, yes, after the earthquake, to distract us from being worried about our mom, he took us to a church to assist people in need. So this is what I meant earlier. They are referring to the season 2 opener. Episode 1 was Under Pressure, where they were mainly dealing with the heat wave, but the heat wave causes the earthquake. So season 2, episode 2, and episode 3. Episode 2 entitled 7.1, and episode 3 entitled Help Is Not Coming. So why is this important? It's not just because Athena was in danger and they couldn't reach her. This is what I mentioned earlier. This is another person whose leg was trapped. They were at the hotel. The hotel collapses from the earthquake, and you had the basketball star, the rising basketball star, who they found, the 118 found them trapped beneath the concrete while aftershocks were hitting, and the options were try to use the hydraulic lift to get the concrete off, but the fastest way, the safest way, would have been a straight up amputation. This is a moment that Chimney knows Bobby found a solution, and they saved that kid's leg. And then that kid was later able, after living his life, continuing on, to save Bobby's life. When the freeway overpass collapsed and the entire 118 was in danger, Bobby was trapped at the bottom, Athena trying to help him. It was the same kid from 7.1 who Bobby saved. Bobby gave him the choice. We can get you out. This is the safe thing to do. We can cut off your leg. You can continue to live. Your family will have you. He gave the kid the choice. And the kid said, I would rather do the thing that endangers me because of what it would mean for his future. So Chimney knows that there was a solution in that case that saved a kid's life, and then that kid passed it on to save Bobby's life, to be a hero for others. So Chimney takes the decision away from Eddie, the responsibility of cutting off a woman's leg, because Chimney couldn't find a solution. We watched him in episode 1 find multiple intelligent solutions to different crises. He is doing an amazing job as captain. He still doesn't believe in himself. He's still feeling the guilt of Bobby choosing to save him versus himself. This is a moment where he's seen Bobby find a solution to an almost identical situation, and everybody got out okay, but Chimney can't find it. He is feeling that guilt. He is feeling guilty towards Lori, towards Cal, and he's trying to protect Eddie from that guilt, even though the idea of the amputation and the one with some form of experience with field amputation is Eddie. We are referring back to a moment for Harry and May, because we've seen it continuously with Harry, how he relies, or he doesn't rely, but his first coping mechanism is anger and to push people away. I had said before that I feel like this is going to be a setup for Harry to become a firefighter. This is a step towards him seeing what Bobby gave up, to see what Athena gives every day she goes out into the field, what his surrounding family does every day to help others. And now he walks in. He knows May, after the tsunami, is when she chose, well, it wasn't directly after the tsunami, and then after Athena was attacked by the serial rapist. When she was in the hospital, that's when May made the decision to get a job at the call center. She, I'm sure, had to go through some sort of medical training, but her self-possession, the way she was able to handle her ex-boyfriend being taken hostage, the reason why I want May to go into some sort of crisis management, again, shown perfectly in this episode, the way that she takes control, the way she uses that clipboard. She is not afraid to get her hands literally bloody and then clean them off and do paperwork. Like, they learned, from Michael included, by talking about this moment when he takes them to help others, that there are things you can do besides being a firefighter, besides being a police officer, besides being a doctor like his not yet boyfriend, that you can help. And there are small ways to help people every day, and this is one of them. So they are honoring. And that's, again, it's why I wish that Harry had also referenced Bobby when talking with Cal. Like, you have two dads. They both taught you different things. So it just would have been nice to hear it vocalized beyond the moment in episode 2 when Harry said, I've already lost Bobby. I can't lose my mom as well. I don't want to go through another funeral. This is incredibly well done. This writing, this moment, fantastic. This whole episode is referencing things that we have seen the team, our cast of characters, struggle with and come through. So the people doing the writing of the episode, I actually, like, I feel the love in this whole arc, this whole space arc, for everything that's come before. Now, this is a little bit out of order because I'm 2 weeks behind, because last week I did the Halloween special with 2 episodes. Please go check that out. I'm incredibly proud of it. You can skip right to the second part where I'm actually doing analysis versus just talking ridiculously long. But I did watch episode 4. I don't know, how many episodes is this arc? Yeah, I did watch episode 4 before doing this, so I know what happens. And I will be posting another video later on this week, maybe in a day or 2, about it. So, like I said before, I didn't expect to love this arc as much as I am, and I wouldn't. It doesn't work if the people writing the show don't love the show. If they don't know. If they cannot reference season 2. If they can't do that and they just tried to pull these emotions out of their ass, it doesn't flow. It doesn't work. So, incredible job. Bravo to the writers for making these references, for tying in the Be NATO reference and then giving Athena the chance to joke about it because she had to live through it. So yeah, I'm very glad, appreciative, the work that they did. This is just very well done. Alright, now we hop from the fire station back to the ISS. They find the unconscious astronaut. Her name is Stratton inside. She has a punctured lung, which Hen is able to stabilize her. And when she wakes, I wrote this whole one down. Like, there's great comedy moments in this episode, which is what we do as people, which is what they do throughout the show. We deal with trauma, or if you're anything like me, you deal with trauma with comedy, with the challenges that we are presented with. It brings us comfort. It brings a little bit of levity into hard situations. So here is a poor unconscious astronaut who just saw her friend die. She wakes up to a stranger hovering over her with, "Did Elon send you?" Parker responds with, "No, much worse, Trip Hauser." She goes, "Ugh, I hate that guy." Which Tricia responds with, "He's my fiance." And Stratton gets in the last, "My condolences." This is, again, how they are getting away with making fun of Elon Musk. By saying, no, you're not that bad. This guy got away with it. Like, Hauser's worse. We made a fictional character, a worse billionaire than you. And it's also making it clear that now the idea of sending random people into space is normal. This is a normalized thing. So they are justifying this plot point that seems extreme. They are justifying making fun of billionaires by making it all normalized because of Elon Musk. So I hate you, Musk, but thanks for the good comedy. Stratton then tells them that the ISS has already been hit 3 times and that they're probably about due for a 4th strike. Cue the debris field and the end of the episode. So yes, once again, I am very much enjoying what we all laughed at and thought was going to be ridiculous, and what my one friend who I've been trying to convince to watch 911, I sent her the trailer with the sky is falling and her going, is 911 just Fast and Furious? And me being like, yeah, it is. If you mean is it at its best when it's talking about family and doing ridiculous things? Fuck yeah. 911 is Fast and Furious, and I love Fast and Furious almost as much. It's definitely up there. It's not, tied, but it's up there. So that is the conclusion of the 3rd episode in our space arc. Again, this emotional building, these references back to the 1st season, they are handling this transition, this unnecessary transition, but they are handling this transition without Bobby very well. They are honoring the memory of this character without making everybody miserable. Grief has many layers. It presents in a million different ways in every single person. It is all different all of the time. We know it has been 6 months since the loss of Bobby. It takes longer depending on your relationship. There's no time frame. Grief doesn't have a time frame. It is different for all of us. These writers are doing a great job at honoring that, about reminding us why we love the rest of these characters and why the world doesn't end without Bobby. Life keeps going. So very well done. Again, I apologize for being a couple of weeks behind, but please tune in again for our next 911 recap, and let me know if you'd like me to keep doing this for the rest of the season. I'm kind of enjoying it, but if you guys have any thoughts, opinions, how are you feeling about this? Please share them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for visiting my geekdom.